Welcome to the How Did They Do It Real Estate Podcast. Have you ever wondered how people succeed in real estate and what steps they took to get there? If so, this podcast is for you. Your hosts, Sayla and Eileen Prack, interview top experts in the real estate community to share with you their real estate journey and how they achieved massive success. Our goal is to provide you with valuable real estate resources and to help you apply it to your own real estate goal. Welcome, everyone, to today's episode of the How Did They Do It Real Estate Podcast. I'm your host, Eileen Prack, and today our guest is Harry Nima Zegara. And Harry is a pulmonary and critical care medicine physician, real estate investor, entrepreneur, co-founder, and manager of Nima Equity, a commercial real estate syndication company where he helps physicians to earn passive income, lower taxes, and achieve financial freedom. And Harry has experience in rental properties and currently owns and manages 9 properties across the Dallas-Fort Worth metropolitan area. And he's also a general partner in 784 units in different states. So Harry, thank you so much for being on the show today. How are you doing?
Hi, Eileen. How are you? I'm doing great. Thank you for having me here.
No,
Very honored.
thank you. Thank you so much, Harry. So I would love to hear it if you could if you should share a little bit more about your background, how you got started within real estate.
Yes, absolutely. So you may know, my wife and I, we both are physicians, and we both actually from South America. So we came here about 14 or 15 years ago. And yeah, so we left our country to look for better opportunities to continue our training. And so we arrived. Initially, we were in different states in the US because of the nature of our training in medicine. So we were in Pennsylvania for 3 or 4 years, then in Virginia, then we were in South Texas, and finally we were able to move here to Dallas, where we live now.
Were you guys in different states or in the same states, just moving around together?
In different states. I'm sorry. Yes.
Oh, you and your wife are in different states.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Yes.
Oh.
So we were together, and that's part of the reason. I mean, we feel very fortunate because when you are training in medicine, many times you need to, split in order to continue your training. But yeah, somehow we were able to manage that. And yeah, our whole time here in the US, 15 years already, we have been living together, and training together and working together.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, that's good to hear. And so then while you guys were training, what did you guys, as you decided to stay here in the US, and then how did you guys come across real estate?
Yes. So actually, when it started about 10 years ago, initially, when we were moving from Pennsylvania to Virginia, I was going to start my fellowship. It was around 2011. And as you can imagine, 2011 was still a rough time for real estate, and everyone was really scared. So we wanted to actually have some place to live where we were going to do our training. So we decided to buy a small townhouse. Interestingly, we bought the townhouse through a short sale, which to that point we haven't heard that word before, so it was new for us. It was kind of stressful, but at the end we were able to close. I believe 3 days before my training started, so it was a little bit stressful, but at the end it worked out really good. And when after 3 years we were moving to Texas, and we needed to sell the townhouse, and we found out, oh surprise, it had appreciated very nicely. Right. So that was our first encounter with real estate. And then we were in South Texas. At some point we were planning maybe to stay and to build a house. So we bought a lot. And after 2 years also, we decided that we wanted to move and come here to Dallas. And it happened the same. We sold a lot, and we found that it had appreciated also very nicely. So it was very clear when we came to Dallas that we wanted to be also to some degree involved in real estate. And that's how we, after even just 6 months, we bought our primary home here. And then 3 months later, started doing real estate, mainly initially single family houses with a buy and hold technique. And then in the last year and a half, we have been in commercial real estate, multifamily.
So when you were purchasing your duplex and the land for yourselves, did you assume that it was going to appreciate as you were looking to buy those properties, or what strategy were you looking to I guess for the land that was for your personal self, and
Yes.
then for the duplex, like what were you looking for as an investment for the duplex?
So initially we were kind of like the with a customer mindset, right? Like we knew that most people rent, but we wanted to initially just to save on rent and say like, hey, we're not going to spend this money just renting, and we try to buy something for ourselves, because initially, even when we started the training and fellowship, we didn't know if we were going to stay in that area or not. So it could have been something that we may have kept for a long time, but we just decided like to start our journey there, and then like we didn't know in that moment actually that we could have the option actually to rent that townhouse to a tenant and just to continue owning like the place, but it's something that you learn on your way.
And so from there, after you moved to the Dallas Fort Worth area, did you continue to purchase a couple more single family properties just between you and your wife, or do you guys have partners on that as well?
Yeah. So before starting that, like we and I am a true believer that education and research is very important, because like you're gonna embark in a project or in a journey that it can be very good for you, but also it can affect you. It can affect your finances and your wealth a lot if you're not doing that right. So initially, we decided that we want to buy real estate and to hold it, because we had doing our research and listen to audiobooks and podcasts and some webinars. And we knew that holding real estate was a very good method, like in different like fields or areas, right? So we started buying single family houses in this area, initially through just the regular way, like through MLS and a real estate agent. But then, like after a couple of months, continue our education and our research, we discovered that there were other ways to acquire properties, mainly off-market properties. And it's very interesting because that's another completely different world, like than the usual real estate, right? Like because like 95% of all the single family home transactions happen through the regular way, through the MLS, and 5%, 5 to 10% is off market. And it's still like a big market for that. And like, especially for investors, right? So we were able like to acquire these off market properties mainly through wholesalers or intermediaries. And that way we were able like to build our portfolio.
Got it. So I'd love to ask also, because you and your wife are both physicians and have very busy schedules.
That
How
is
have you
correct.
been? And also you have young children as well.
Yes.
And how old are your kids?
They are 6 and 10, and two boys,
Six
very
and
active.
10.
They play together and fight together all the time.
Yes, it's quite a handful. I have a 3-year-old of my own, and a 1 year
Oh,
old, but then my
oh,
3-year-old
that's very
boy,
cool.
definitely very active. So,
Yeah, I hear you. I know what you're saying.
so as you are building up and you're looking at, you and your wife are both working as physicians, you had very limited time. It's very strenuous hours to be a physician. How are you able to manage and look for properties and manage your time as real estate investors as well, at the same time building up your family and spending time with your kids?
Yeah, that's very important. It was not easy, I can say. Um, and one of the most important things is like the communication that you have with your partner, with your spouse. I believe if we wouldn't have had this great relationship that my wife and I have, and how we support each other, it would have been impossible. Especially, I mean, again, you can imagine like some of our time in real estate has been during the pandemic. And still, like in 2020, still we were doing initially single family houses. And I was working full time. My wife was working full time. And my wife is a primary care doctor and a pulmonary critical care. So you can imagine that we were really in the front lines of physicians with treating patients with COVID. So it was really hard and very difficult. I still not sure how we were able like to juggle all of that together, because also at some point our kids were out of school. They needed to stay at home, and we needed to provide them like, again, like love and the best education, and also to give them time. And with all these things at the same time, I mean, for sure it was a struggle, but when you have the will, when you have the drive, somehow you find the time. And we were very passionate about that. So we were doing this real estate thing, and with good communication, like again, somehow we were able like to grow our portfolio. And yeah, it has been like a blessing. And just lately, my wife, she has been able to decrease her hours, and actually she's now taking a little bit of break from her clinical work, because we want to focus actually more on our kids and more on our family.
And so, when people look at it, you two are both physicians. You are high income earning professionals. And so why did you decide to invest in real estate when people look and they're like, wow, these two power couples have such a great income. They have a great lifestyle. It's like what every family looks to aspire to be, in a sense, sometimes, right? But then you're both very successful in your professional careers, in your families. And so why turn to real estate at the same time?
Yeah, so it's interesting, but we as physicians, we struggle and have pretty much the same problems as any professional or any couple that works. And I am a pulmonary critical care doctor, and I work for a hospital. And my wife, she also worked for a clinic. So we actually, to some degree, still were dependent on our employees and our employers. So to some degree, we didn't have the freedom to choose our time and our hours. And many times, and this is what I tell my friends sometimes, that I mean, like, you can make a good income, you can have a good life, but if you cannot control your time, if you don't have the freedom, it's very difficult. It's like what they call like the golden handcuffs, right? Like you make a good income, but the question is at what price, right? Like, and things like, for example, like in my case, and or physicians who work in the hospital, we many times need to work nights, we work weekends, we work during holidays, we work like on the weekends with on birthdays. Sometimes we're not able like to go to presentations of our kids, or like our games. Like my son has already is already 10 years old, and he plays basketball and soccer, and you want to do these things, right? Like, and sometimes when you work for someone, you have a very structured schedule, and you cannot do these things. So that's part of the reason why we decided like to go into real estate, because again, as you were saying, our income was good. However, we didn't have enough freedom and options to do the life that we wanted to do.
And how it's so within real estate too, people take a look at it and they're like, well, I don't have the time to put in to invest in real estate. I don't have the time to take a look and do all my research and put in the hours that's needed to be able to educate myself, to go search for those deals. So for you, you shifted your focus from single family into now multifamily. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yes.
And so why did you decide to make that shift, and how does it play into your lifestyle? If it's better or worse from going to a single family to multifamily in your particular case?
Yeah, so I started in real estate in single family houses, because that's what you usually know about real estate in general, right? Like, that's the bread and butter of real estate. And that's how I started, like initially, again, like in Bigger Pockets or other webinars or audiobooks. You listen, and that's like the best and the most common way to start in real estate. But then after some time, you start discovering that there are other fields in real estate, right? Like, there's land, there's commercial, there's storage, mobile parks, there's like apartment syndications too. So that opened our like experience, and we were able like to see that there's not only single family houses, and actually single family houses, when you get to a point when you have certain number of properties, it becomes more like a second job, and you still managing. You need to manage all your houses, even though if you may have like a property manager. I mean, actually, I have a property manager who's really good, and he's a good friend of mine. But it's still where we spend like a couple of hours at least a week managing all the problems that happen. And also, like at the end of the year, you find yourself with a lot of paperwork and again, like insurance, taxes that you need to go through. So we wanted to shift our attention to something that would be more fulfilling for us, and also like that we could work with other professionals like ourselves, and also to do more networking, because that's also like what we enjoy a lot. So that's when we, like, again, it took us also another 6 months or so, like to read and to listen to education, and we came across to syndication in real estate. So that's something that we found very powerful, and I started, like, again, digging more into that, and finally we were very grateful that we were able to join like an investment group, a mentorship group, and since then it has been like a great journey.
And what do you think was the most difficult part as you've been, your entire real estate journey so far? What has been the most difficult part for you, both as a full-time working physician and then also as a real estate investor?
Yes, yes, you're saying like time is sometimes something very difficult to manage. From all what we can get in life, time is something that we don't get back. Once you use your time, you're not getting that back. It's not like money, it's not like other assets. So that was very important for us to find a good balance, like between our W-2 job, which is until now like medicine. That, by the way, we still love medicine. This haven't changed like since we started like even medical school. Also with our family, and now with our business or in our journey in real estate. So that was very difficult, and also like to sometimes even like to for other people to take you seriously in real estate, because they usually have this misconception that physicians are going to be always physicians, or lawyers are going to be only lawyers. But there's so much more like for everyone in life, right? Like, and we can have different interests in life and second passions in life, and things that fulfill your life, for you, for your wife, and also for your family.
So, Harry, for you, what is next for you, and what are you looking to focus on next?
Yeah, so this last year was great, actually. Again, like, we have been in commercial real estate for a year and a half, and then we funded Nima Equity about like a year ago. We have been very grateful and blessed that we were able to participate in 4 projects. Initially, it was something mainly organic, actually, with friends, with colleagues, with family. We spread the word about real estate and how this can improve your life, actually. This next year, 2022, we're have even bigger goals, right? So we're getting out there. As I told you at the beginning, I'm a true believer of like education. So because people tend to invest in what they know or what they are familiar with. And as you can imagine, like, physicians, we don't have that much time, right? Like, so the only thing we know is usually stocks or mutual funds or 401k. So to some degree, now that we have this knowledge, to some degree, it's our responsibility to share this, and not necessarily like to make people invest with us, but to give them the options in life, right? Like, and when I talk with people, I always tell them like, hey, so I'm in real estate and I have done residential, and I'm doing commercial. It's depending on your goals or on of what you want to do. I mean, if you have the passion, if you want to put the time, you can even do it by yourself. If you want to take the seat back, maybe a little bit more and be a little bit more relaxed, you can always do syndications or commercial real estate. It can be with me, it can be with someone else. There are many syndicators with very good reputation and background.
So, as you're having these conversations with your family and colleagues, you mentioned that education is, they don't have too much time to educate themselves as you have put all the time in and investing in educating yourself in this space, in this knowledge base, and helping to spread out the word. So
Yes.
as you're talking to newer investors, what has been the biggest challenge for them to understand the syndication space?
Yeah. So even the concept of syndication is completely new, right? Like, and as like at the beginning, I needed like to explain. So syndication means group investment, right? Like so, and that's very important. And I think like that's part of our mission in life, like to educate other people. So again, like they need to understand how what this means, how it works, what kind of returns they can have, and also how this can help them with taxes, right? Because at the end of the day, it's not necessarily how much money you make, it's also how much you keep. So all of that, and to also to make them understand, especially that again, this is an investment, right? Like, so we're going together as partners, and we always have the best intentions, but it is an investment, right? Like we try to shoot our numbers. Sometimes it can be a little bit lower, sometimes it can be not the best returns. However, we need to be honest. We need to have the best communication. And one of the important things for any syndicator or operator out there is when there's any problem that may happen, to be honest with your investor, but also to tell them what steps are you taking to fix that problem and to prevent in future situations that to happen.
How has real estate investing impacted your life so far?
Oh, it has impacted a lot. Well, in two ways mainly. So like one, again, like in the financial field, it has given us a clear path to financial independence. So we're not necessarily completely there because, as you can understand, we initially started this about 4 years ago, initially as a part-time job. And now it has becoming more and more like a full-time job, which we really enjoy and we're passionate about that. So that's one of that. And also like at the same time, it's taking a little bit longer than the usual because, as you can understand, as physicians, we're high income earners. So the higher you make, like the longer it takes to replace your income. But we're very happy that we have a clear path to that. And the second thing is about mindset, right? Like, so it has changed us a lot in the sense that we're hopeful about the future. We're hopeful about the future because we believe that we have options. And when you have options, you have freedom, right? So you start enjoying your life more, spending your life more with your family and kids.
Yeah, I think that uh, we sometimes take it for granted how much time we have in this world, and we're going on our daily day-to-day lives, and just working the normal 9 to 5 days. And in the past, when we're driving to work, sitting in traffic, like for us, it was, we're wasting a lot of that time just sitting in traffic without having to spend time with our kids. By the time we get home,
Yeah.
it's time to get them to bed, get them showered,
Yes.
and you only really have like an hour or so a day with them.
Yeah.
And then you're missing like the prime moments of their lives.
Yeah.
And so it's yeah, the time aspect of it, you can make more and more money, but you can never get more and more time.
Exactly.
So we just got
Exactly.
to
You hit the nail on the head in terms of most important things in life are, like, again, like what you get from your family and these precious moments that many times are for free, but just spending this important time with your family is something that it's priceless.
And so what is one thing that you know now about real estate that you wish you knew when you first started?
Let's say that you can start as early as you want. I mean, like, you don't need necessarily to be in your 30s or 40s or 50s to start in real estate. So that's one of the things and this is one of the things that many real estate investors or operators, like, always say, like, I wish I would have started earlier. Right? Like, the other thing is, like, again, like what I told you before is that physicians are not just physicians, lawyers are not just lawyers, accountants are just not accountants. We can always do something else. We can always continue to follow our passion. And if it's real estate, that's another thing to do. And yeah, that helps. That has helped us a lot.
And then what is the one thing that sets the successful people apart in real estate investing?
One of the important things and I believe in real estate or in anything in life is one is consistency. Again, like nothing is necessarily easy in life. I always tell this to my two kids. Success is not like something that happens overnight. You need to work really hard, and many times people don't see that. They just see the result, but they don't see all the hard work that you put in it. And the second thing is integrity. Integrity is something that is very important. You can have all the qualities, hardworking, or like being able to run numbers, or to able to connect or network. But if you are not necessarily like an honest person, a good person, people are going to know about this. And again, like in especially like in real estate and in commercial real estate, it's a small world, right? Like, and they sooner or later they're going to know about this.
Yeah. What you were saying earlier, it's people only see the success of it. They don't see the hard work. A lot of times they know what you're doing, but they aren't really paying attention until one day they just see this massive success and they're like, how did you get to that spot? But they didn't see the years and hours of effort that you put into it, the hard work that goes into building something for yourself and for your family. But it's a long road, but as long as you're enjoying the journey and you're enjoying life and, you know, really being present in the time and not forgetting why you're doing what you're doing, it just becomes so much more enjoyable, even though it takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of effort, but as long as you're enjoying the journey along the way, it's good.
Yes, I believe the same.
So Harry, I really appreciate you coming on the show today and sharing your experiences with us and your journey. And if our listeners wanted to find out more about what you're doing and learn more about you and what your business is, where's the best place that they can go?
Yes. First, one more time, thank you so much for having me on your show. I really enjoy our conversation. So if they want to know more about us, the website is Nima Equity. Nima is N as in Nancy, IMA, NimaEquity.com. We have also a YouTube channel. We're just talking about like education and how to spread the word and how to inform about these concepts like syndication or returns or taxes. So we have our YouTube channel too.
Awesome. Thank you so much again, Harry.
Thank you. Absolutely. Thank you.
And thank you for listening to our podcast today, brought to you by Bonavest Capital. We would really appreciate it if you can go to iTunes right now and leave a rating and written review. Also, please don't forget to subscribe so you can always get the latest episodes. You can also connect with us on Facebook, How Did They Do It Real Estate. We'd love to hear your feedback and any topics that you're interested in for future episodes. Lastly, to learn more about us, you can go to bonavestcapital.com and fill out the Contact Us page so you can speak to us directly. Nothing on the show should be considered as specific personal advice. Please consult your legal, tax, and real estate professionals for individualized advice.